Hey Dynasty, it's your girl Magnificent. And if you're new here, welcome to the Magnificent Dynasty. Y'all, I'm doing this recording on my phone. I just finished writing a Medium piece. I literally was recording on my phone and I was like, I can't really post this. It was so long that I had to literally listen to it, jot it down, separate it, and organize it and everything just to get the medium post out. And then I'm like, you know what? This is really decent. I need to turn this into like something I post on my YouTube. And then I was like, well, I need something to record on. And I was Googling what's some good apps to record, basically like podcast type of things. And it was like Spotify for podcasting, which is called podcast Spotify for creators. So I jumped on there. So I'm gonna also post this on Spotify and try to, use my voice wherever I could. Um, and your girl got 81 subscribers on Medium, and I just sent 81 folks a notification. I did not know. Like the last time I post something was about 6 months ago. Literally the beginning of the year, the first month, January of 2026 is when I posted on my Medium. So I'm really proud of myself. The stuff that I posted is being looked at, and I got 81 subscribers. Like kudos to moi. Anywho, so this is like episode one because I had to break it down. And this is more so of me talking about how I thought motivation was my problem. And like I've been talking about this for a while, but it's never really been like a conversation, and it's just been slowly being put out on my YouTube. Um, and I started to talk about just simply the things that I was learning during this week. But something made me want to go back a few weeks. And it started raining and storming and lightning and stuff. And I'm just like, that's the perfect background noise to start recording. And I'm literally just laid back in my bed. It's 11 o'clock, 23:42, 3:17 on the timer. And we in here. So let's talk about it. I've been mentioning on my YouTube that I was in a funk, and I've only touched like the surface because I wasn't ready to unpack everything while I was still living through it. And I told myself when I get to the other side, then I'll talk about it. And like matter of fact, like bro, like I just said, I got videos to drop that I recorded last weekend. Your girl just ain't finished editing or whatever. But anyways, recently I started reading a business book. Can't think of the name, but what what's funny is like I didn't even make it through the first chapter. I was just reading like the beginning, the introduction, with our Arthur just talking about the time from the last time he wrote the first book that went to that book. And I'm like, damn, I done jumped all the way to the end. But anyways, I was like not even through the first chapter. And like I literally thought I was picking up a book about entrepreneurship. But instead it made me start auditing my own life. The author was like explaining how every part of a business has a purpose. No department can do the job of another department, right? And everything has its own responsibility. And I was reading it and I stopped thinking about business, right? I started to think about my life and life in general. And it's like a tree. And you got the roots, the trunk, the branches, the leaves, everything serves a purpose. Nothing grows without something else supporting it, right? And then I had to ask myself, what part of my own tree have I been neglecting? See, I've started studying spirituality for years. Years back, I started studying herbs and just understanding my dreams, praying, uh, journaling literally my dreams. Like I literally picked up one of my books that I was journaling. I was like, what the hell do I be dreaming about? And my dreams are the reason why I call myself Dream Goddess. Because like so much inspiration comes to me through dreams. Some of my dreams are so detailed that they feel like movie scenes. They're so vivid that I can wake up and write pages and pages about my dreams. I have a diary for just my dreams. I have notebooks, all sorts of things just dedicated to my dreams. You know, I can see the vision, I can even explain the vision. But, here's what I realized: knowing something isn't the same thing as living it. That realization really humbled me, right? Because I knew a lot, but I wasn't applying everything I knew. And that's where I had to really get honest with myself. I wasn't stuck because I didn't have the information. I was stuck because I lacked discipline in areas I kept avoiding. And, in the back of my mind, I know. I know what's right and I know what's wrong, and just making excuses to why I was doing certain things, telling myself I'm just having fun. And it's just fun. This means nothing. And it was super hard to admit. But because like it's easy to tell yourself I'm overwhelmed, I'm tired, I'm in a funk. But sometimes you just really just avoiding the work that requires the most discipline. And for me, one of those areas was intimacy. And before y'all go running with that, I'm not telling you what you should do, right? I'm just telling you what I learned about me. I realized I had studied almost every part of my spiritual journey except the part that required me to truly master myself. I would tell myself, like, I was in solitude, but was I really? Not completely, not at all. Because I still had someone occupying space that should have belonged to me. And that's when another realization hit me. Sometimes we don't keep people because they're meant to stay. Sometimes we keep them because they're helping us avoid something else. And I had to ask myself, am I holding on to this person because it's aligned, or this relationship, this friendship, whatever it is, because it's aligned, or am I holding on to it because it's familiar? And those are two completely different things. And as time passed, I started noticing something about myself. Whenever I was around people who weren't aligned with me or where I'm going, I slowly became less like myself. And it wasn't overnight, it was literally little by little. My peace changed, my focus changed, my freaking health changed, my energy changed, even my body changed. And I remember talking about how my body odor had changed. My stress levels were showing up physically. And, that's when I realized your body is always talking to you. And the question is, are you listening? In those same months, life started to shift. I stopped working overtime. I started spending more time with my boys. I joined this 14-week family program, and that just a lot of stuff just started to open up my eyes. I started to pray more deeper. I got back into my spiritual baths, cleansing myself and paying more attention to my health, and started to organize my home. Like, I literally got to the point where when I changed like my work position, like I literally stepped down, uh and they asked for a laptop back, and I was like, you know what, let me give all this shit back, let me get all this shit up out my house. Because I was walking past it and I was like, this is taking up space. My shit supposed to be there. Like, where's the Magnificent Dynasty stuff? Why is it these people's stuff? Like, you feel me? I started to get real organized. Um and then I started opening up doors for the business I've been talking about building for years, you know. And I built the LLC. I started the things to get the motion going, the address. I got all that, you know what I mean? But actually working on it wasn't something I was doing. I made workbooks and all type of stuff, but publishing them and getting them out was something that I was doing like really slow. And it's one decision at a time. And looking back now, it all happened so fast though. But while I was living it, it felt so slow. And that's funny, right? Growth usually feels slow while you're in it. Then one day you look back and realize you're not the same person anymore. And one thing I kept hearing over and over was, some people are only meant to walk with you for a season. And at first I didn't like hearing that, but now I understand it. You feel me? Not everybody is your forever. Some people are lessons, some people are just purely mirrors. And matter of fact, like, we literally mirror everybody. Everyone is a reflection of who we are, of ourselves. You know, some people simply remind you that this is something that I will no longer accept. This is something that I don't want to accept about myself, about my reality, about my situation, you know, and that's okay. And I'm getting emotional, I'm not gonna lie. But what matters is, like, having the courage to let the season end. The biggest season I've in, been through, and the biggest lesson I've learned wasn't about relationships. It wasn't about business. It wasn't even about my spirituality. It was all about my discipline, disciplining myself, and this, just understanding that discipline. I'm getting really emotional. Discipline protects my peace. Discipline protects my time. Discipline protects my body. Discipline protects my purpose, because the truth is, God can open doors. Life can give you opportunities. People can encourage you, but eventually you have to remain consistent when nobody is watching, you know? What's going on in the back end, in the background, what you're not really exposing to the world. And that's where I'm growing. It's not perfection, it's consistency. When my work schedule changed recently, I could have complained. I could have been like, that's not the schedule I was hired at. Could have caused a lot of unnecessary. But instead, I took that as like, that's God moving, you know? I saw something different, you know? I saw that God is making room. It's room to create, like room to build, room to write, room to finally pour into my own dynasty instead of constantly helping build everyone else's. And that's where I'm at today. I'm not standing here telling you I figured life out. Nah, I haven't. Life is a learning journey, and I'm still learning, I'm still growing, but I can honestly say I've no longer try to be, uh I'm no longer trying to become myself. I'm returning to myself. And that has been the greatest wealth I've gained. Not money, not status, not recognition, peace, health, mental clarity, presence. That's wealth. So if you're listening to this and you've been feeling stuck, don't immediately ask yourself, how do I become more motivated? Instead, I want you to ask yourself, what part of my life has been asking for my discipline? Because sometimes your breakthrough isn't waiting on another blessing. Sometimes it's waiting on your consistency. And I thank you all for sitting with me today. I'm probably about to go cry my eyes out because this really made me super, super emotional. And this is one of the realest conversations we've had. And I have a feeling that it's the first of many. And until next time, keep building your dynasty. Ashe.